All right, we're 4 sleeps away from Texans versus Seahawks. A couple things I want to get into here. I want to get into briefly some of the stuff that we've already been talking about that we have addressed, and then some stuff that I think we should probably be talking about a little more. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. This video is brought to you by the greatness that is Sleeper. And a lot of you have been taking advantage of the Sleeper promo, the new Sleeper promo, which they've really outdone themselves on. The $20 free entry, no deposit needed, with the 100% match up to $100 when you use the promo code Locker. And if you've been riding along with me this week, we are one away in our latest higher lower. Joe Flacco, 237, never in doubt. And I had this one printed in the third quarter, I think. T. Higgins touchdown, never in doubt. Jamar Chase, receiving yards, never in doubt. So boom, all we need now is ETN to not score a touchdown, and we will be cashing $47. You can do the same. Play Sleeper, use the promo code Locker, 100% match up to $100. Or you can simply just get $20 free if you've never played. So go ahead and do it. Shout out to the greatness that is Sleeper. It does look like the Bengals might have life. The Bengals were buried, and now it looks like they might have life. And what the Browns are the crappy player in your fantasy league that makes a trade and gives a lifeless team hope. That's what the Browns are. You heard Mike Tomlin complain about it. I agreed with him. That was a little bit crazy. I'm not against trading in your division. I actually think it's kind of over-romanticized at times, but I do kind of roll my eyes when you're just a worthless squad and you just give Flacco to the Bengals. Kind of a wild decision by them. So maybe the Texans, if they do creep back into the playoff fold, they might have to worry about the Bengals a little bit more, assuming that they can tread water. That was a hell of a game. By the way, how far can Aaron Rodgers throw a football? Can he throw it 80 yards right now? I mean, that Hail Mary was insane, and he was running around. I mean, it looked like old Aaron Rodgers. He might be able to throw the ball 70 yards. Who knows? I don't know if CJ Stroud could throw it that far. But CJ Stroud did speak today. I thought he had an interesting quote, somewhat of a telling quote. And the theory that I've had about Nick Caley is, I think it's pretty obvious that he was either set down, something happened after week 3 to where they changed what Nick Caley was doing. DeMeco stopped calling the defense. The offense started looking different. They did play bad teams, but it was obviously different. And I thought this was really an interesting quote from CJ Stroud, talking about stuff that he looked at during the bye week, and listen to what he says about some of the things that Nick Caley was doing.
I think I'll just keep that kind of to myself on what we think. But there were some things where I think we can build upon, and there are some things that I think we shouldn't do anymore. We should just move on, try some other things. But I thought, what we did coming to practice last Wednesday was really helpful to, work on some of the things that we need to work on from just a big picture standpoint as an offense, instead of just against Seattle or against San Fran or whoever we're going to play. It was good for us as a whole to just fit what we need. So that's how it was good for us.
There's some stuff that we shouldn't do. You talk about more control. You wonder what the heck that means. Quarterback comes out and says stuff that there's some stuff that we probably should not do anymore. That's crazy. That's really, really crazy. And it also kind of confirms what we thought, that there was probably some things that DeMeco didn't like either. And the feedback thing is alive and well. So props to CJ Stroud for coming out and saying that. And it was clear as day that what they were doing wasn't working. And he's talking about this over the bye, but I think it's obvious that there's some checks and balances, and there's some healthy checks and balances when it comes to what the Texans do, where the Texans are heading, and where the offense was, for sure. It's good to hear. On the chat, and I find this interesting. Something else that CJ Stroud said. This is from Parada Bros.
Swarm.
Parada Bros says CJ did Nico dirty with that JSN comment. This I didn't know this was a thing until Cody Stoots told me. This is weird that any Texans fan would take this personal. But apparently it does exist. I ignore stuff that's not in the chat, and even then, like, if I'll bring it to the forefront. But if this makes you upset, you got some sensitivity issues, I think.
First day I met him, I think we were at the opening, and he was killing. He was on a different team. He was doing really well. And we go to Ohio State. I think we were in the same dorm. No, he was with G. But yeah, first day of practice, he like one-handed, like a pass, and like I was like, yeah, this dude's for real. So ever since then, I'm like, man, he one of the best I've ever played with, if not the best. So, man, I'm just super proud of him. I've always known that this is gonna happen, so it's no surprise to me. But just very proud of him, and I think he's gonna continue to do great things.
That's kind of embarrassing if that offends you. If he says he might be the best player that I've ever played with, that's sad. No, I mean, you can feel how you want to feel. I think it's weak as fuck. But it's not like that big of a deal. You know, I'm sure that probably hurts your feelings. If that hurts your feelings and you think that he did, CJ, that does it too. I'm saying this because it's not a real picture or anything either. But I would say this: do you not think that JSN might be better than Nico Collins right now? He might be. CJ Stroud and him went to Ohio State together. They grew and developed together. He had 350 yards in a game with him, the game that was mentioned there. He's one of the best. He might be, and that makes you. I mean, that's he did him dirty. That's sad. That's sad. I'm sorry. That's just sad. GJOKR says, didn't he have a 340 plus yard game with him? Of course, he's going to say that. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't think he did him dirty, and Parada Bro said he was probably joking. But yeah, I feel you on that. But I think there were some. Stoots said that he saw some people that were actually upset by it. I'm not picking on you, Parada, but it's a weird. That's a weird thing to be upset about. And I'll ask you this in the chat: would you trade right now? Would you trade? Yeah, and Parada says he's kidding. It's all good, man. But would you trade Nico Collins for Jackson Smith and Jigba right now? I mean, just think about it. Like, would you? I would have to think long and hard about it. I would have to think about whether I would do that or not, but I probably would. Is that crazy? I would trade Nico for Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think Nico's awesome. I think Nico's great. But I would definitely trade I would do it. I think Smith, but maybe that's just because I'm kind of a Jackson Smith and Jigba truther. I'm a Jackson Smith and Jigba guy. Big fan of his game. Never missed a game either. I know that he kind of half opted out the final year at Ohio State, but you look at his first 3 seasons in the league, 17 games played, 6 games played. Nico hadn't missed a game this year, knock on wood, but JSN hasn't missed a game. Nico Collins has never had a season where he's played every game. The least he's missed, I think, is 3. And you have a game where he left early. JSN has played every game of his career. And he's one of the best in the league right now. So I would say yes, I would definitely make that move. So I don't think it's too crazy from CJ Stroud. And we talked about the Will Anderson trade. The Will Anderson trade was essentially Will Anderson for JSN or Jamar Gibbs, Sam Laporta, and whatever else you could have gotten with that first the next year. So Will Anderson, there's a lot there too. But I think it's interesting what CJ Stroud is saying. I also think that the whole vibe of DeMeco Ryans is strange. We'll hear from him in a sec, but first let's hear from CJ Stroud on the offense and figuring it out.
I think, we're starting to find our identity, being versatile. A lot of guys touch the ball against Baltimore. I think that's a good thing. So some things we can keep up and keep up our tempo and getting in and out the huddle. Just operational things is good. So keeping all that stuff up.
James on the chat says JSN is mostly a product of a good scheme and quarterback play, both things Texans haven't had. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of holding CJ accountable too, in an interesting way. I thought he was going to ball no matter where he was. I thought he was going to ball no matter where he was. It was destined. The DeMeco Ryans vibe is interesting this week. So he's been very, very giddy about Clint Kubiak. He was very giddy about Byron Murphy when I asked him about him. But the Clint Kubiak thing is interesting. Listen to DeMeco talk about Clint Kubiak.
He has the history of the scheme. He's evolved it, and to make it fit to each place he's went to, he made it fit the players that he has. But you could tell just the genesis of the scheme, where they're running off the ball, outside zone. They do a really nice job. The O-line does a nice job. The backs are doing a nice job of staying on track, right? And the one thing I would say is the way he marries up his play-action pass game is really tough to defend. So he's done a really nice job there, and he always has, those outliers. So he has some good scheme plays as well each week. It doesn't look exactly the same each week, so he does a really nice job of game planning for who he's going against.
I don't know that DeMeco's like a real big mastermind. I don't know that he's like some sort of like technician. He's not like some sort of Zen master, but he's really gassed up Seattle this week even more than he does other teams usually. Not every once in a while he'll get giddy about a player and you'll hear him talk about it, but I'm trying to read between the lines here, because either DeMeco thinks this is like just an incredible, awesome Seattle team, and they're good, or he thinks they're good and he really wants the full attention. Like he's not treating this like just another game. And I don't think it is just another game. I think this is a pivotal moment in the DeMeco and CJ Stroud era. And I'm not sitting here saying if they lose this game that all hope is lost and the ultimate dreams that you had with them is done. I'm not saying that. That would be dramatic. But I do think if you're gonna prove that you can win games like this, and if you're gonna flip this season and perhaps have hope or a chance at reaching the goals that you set out, I do think this is the type of game you got to win. And it does feel like, A, he thinks this team is really good, and B, DeMeco just really, really, really feels like this is a big ass game, because it is. It's a complete season changer. Tonight, Cincinnati, they flipped their season. Their season was over if they lost this game. They flipped their season. They're one game away from being 500 now, and Jamar Chase, Higgins, they're alive and well with Flacco at QB. So they completely flipped their season, and the Texans can be able to do that with this win. It doesn't feel like the nerds, like the people who follow football the closest, it doesn't feel like they think the Texans have much of a chance. I think the Texans do have a chance. I do, however, though, feel like the offensive line is still very suspect. So I think it's very suspect. I think the praise of it is actually, it's actually kind of funny to me. I did not minimize the win against Baltimore, but I mean, I don't think the offensive line just suddenly is some sort of awesome offensive line that you can just 100% count on. I don't buy that. Let's hear from Titus Howard. Titus Howard had some media availability. He's feeling it. He's feeling pretty good, Titus. DeMeco Ryans praised his maturity earlier this week. By the way, the Texans, 6-10 lifetime on Monday Night Football. And DeMeco Ryans is 1-1 on Monday Night Football. You had the L against Tampa Bay a few weeks ago, and then you had the W against the Cowboys last season. So DeMeco is 1-1. So he's looking to get above 500 on Monday night and at 500 for the season. Let's hear from Titus Howard. I asked Titus Howard about stunts, but let's hear the whole media availability with Titus Howard, and he seems to be feeling himself a little bit.
Doing what I can do to help the team. So it's been a good season for me so far. Just looking forward after the bye week, keep it going.
Anything feel different for you this year? I mean, you feel that extra step or something?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot this offseason to help me, prepare for the season, transform my body, getting in the playbook more. I feel like this is the best training camp I had so far since I've been in the league. And then just the guys in the room. It's a good group to play with. Great coaching at the offensive line. Papa's done a great job of helping me on some of the stuff I need to get better at, to be better. And I'm playing at tackle, which is, I feel like, my best spot. So it's helped me out a lot.
Titus, DeMeco referenced your leadership, but that's an intangible. But how would you describe your leadership style, and where do you think you did grow as a leader?
Oh man, I feel like I'm one of the older guys in the room now, so I got a lot of experience in this league, a lot of experience being here in Houston, being on this team, the culture, what everybody's trying to build. And I'm just trying to own in on that and just be an example for that every day for the guys in the room, and just helping out all the young guys, being a vet for those guys. Me and Ed has got close, and that has paid off, on the field. His locker just moved over here by mine now. So that's helped us out a lot, building off the field, help us on the field. And I feel like being here for Ariante, has been a big deal for him because, like I said, told him all the time, I was in the same position my rookie year as he was now. And I got better as the season went along, but my season got cut short. So I feel like the sky's the limit for him. He's only going to get better. But I'm just trying to be a great example for the young guys every day.
How do you set a tone for what you guys can do offensively? It's obvious when you guys are doing your job, the offense starts to go, you can run it. What kind of tone do you try to set as an offensive line?
Just be physical and hunt all game. We got to set the line of scrimmage every game. We just got to come out the gate, set the tempo, running the ball, and then the pass is going to open it up. Like I tell guys all the time, like we can run the ball early in the game, the pass is going to be easier because guys going to be worried about the run. But I feel like these last couple of weeks, we did a better job up front, playing a good game offensively, running the ball and passing. And we just got to take that momentum into Seattle for a really good team, really good defense, really good front. And I feel like we'll be up for the challenge.
They're among the league leaders in stunts up front. What challenges do stunts provide?
Stunts is, the best offensive lines have problems with stunts. Like stunts came into, existence because, you can't just rush. They can't rush us all game one-on-one. We're going to win the majority of those rushes. So, they create stunts to throw you off your game. But I feel like this year, if you go from game 1 to game 5, 6, we got better. That's one thing that we work on every day at practice is stunts. And we just continue to get better every week on that, and I feel like we should be good. But yeah,
do y'all think they've gotten better? Like they've gotten better compared to last year? Do you think the competition has blinded us? That's going to be the question. I still think it can be overcome, even if the answer is no. You can't be an offensive coordinator and be dependent on this offensive line. You got to find ways to counterpunch it. We knew this coming into the season, but it seems to be a popular talking point that they've turned the corner. Do you believe that? I don't. I think they've improved last year. I don't believe it.
They're the number one team with most stunts in the league, but I feel like we'll be prepared.
You talk about building on momentum and
You know, I know every game's important, but what can this one do for you guys as far as getting that third straight win after the the rough start to the season?
Yeah, get us out the losers column. With 2-3, get to 3-3. Just continue to build, man. We take it week at a time. You know, can't worry about the next opponent. Man, Seattle's a good team. It's going to be a huge challenge. The environment in Seattle is going to be amazing. There's going to be something Monday night, you know. But I feel like, you know, we just take it week by week, attack each opponent the same. Don't look past no one. We're gonna be good, man. We just gotta keep the ball rolling, keep doing our job on offense. The defense have been doing a phenomenal job all year. I seen the stats and they was only allowing 16 points a game. That's 3 touchdowns right there. We win the game. So we just gotta score in the red zone, protect CJ, give him time. When we give him time, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So that's our job.
You mentioned Ed is now one of the highest graded guys at Pro Football Focus. Only Quentin Nelson.
Aaron's bringing up pro football. The alphaness of Aaron has gotten crazy right now. The alpha nature of Aaron.
Hey, bro, Alpha Aaron here.
Alpha Aaron is. They say to ignore PFF rankings. He's going to bring them right to Titus Howard. He is hitting. By the way, I talked to Aaron today. He said he was at the gym the other day, and someone came up to him and called him Alpha Aaron. So Alpha Aaron is hitting. But, man, he's going to bring up the PFF. I had walked away at this point. Alpha Aaron's on one right now.
Run block is ahead of him. What have you seen from what the fresh start has done for Ed?
Man, Ed's physical. I mean, y'all see the tape, y'all see the clips, man. He's physical. He bring that every day. I saw it from OTAs all the way to training camp. I knew he was going to have a good year. His mentality coming into being a Texan, being traded, he had a chip on his shoulder. He had something to prove. I like that, you know. And he's been showing it week in and week out, the type of player he is. And I'm happy for him. And I know he's going to keep doing it and getting better every week. And to be that number one guard in the league. So I already feel like he's the best guard in the league. I'm looking forward to helping him and, you know, be a dominant right side.
You mentioned the environment, dealing with that, the penalties, etc. How are you guys kind of preparing for that? How intense do you expect it to be? Because it's kind of a very notable environment with the noise up there.
Yeah, we try to simulate the noise at practice the best as we can, but I mean, it's nothing you can do to actually, you know, say, all right, it's gonna be the same as it's been out there. We just gotta own in and be focused, man. Just gotta be locked in and just know our purpose of being there. You gotta know it's bigger than you. You gotta own in on the details for your brothers right beside you. And just, you know, I feel like we're gonna be good though. You know, I feel like we got better with it over the past couple of weeks as the offensive line. Because that's the main thing. The offensive lines are really got to have the most trouble with the noise. So if we can do that, we're gonna be good.
All right, we're getting out of control here. This is a lot. That sounded like someone who just won a Super Bowl, honestly. I mean, the stunts is one thing. Come on. Ed Ingram's the best guard in the league. I don't even think Ed Ingram thinks that. We're getting out of control. We've been this is setting up for I just hope Nick Caley's ready to counter it. I just hope Nick Caley's ready to counter it. That was, I mean, that we'll see what goes on. I do think the contract year does help, which is essentially what's going on there.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm. Malik on the soup says Texans win 100%. Sam won't be able to throw deep much on this secondary. Seen their games, they rely on deep passes, can see sacks from D because, the defense is a problem. It's going to be the best defense Seattle faces too. We kind of take that for granted a little bit, but it is going to be the best defense they face too. They're also, like, for all this talk about play action, I'll admit, maybe I haven't highlighted it enough because I do think MJ Stewart has his work cut out for him. I talked to MJ Stewart in the locker room. We'll hear that in a sec. This is a game day, by the way. Tomorrow we got Nick Caley, and then Saturday we got to practice. We're trying to set up an interview, an SNL exclusive on Saturday, and y'all know we like O linemen. Andrews told me I had an infatuation with offensive linemen. I was like, man, this has been the shittiest position in town. Got to got to get the pulse of it. But yeah, Roy Boy 3281 says, I'm pumped for this game. I'm really excited for this game. I'm not going to lie. I'm pumped. I'm very, very excited for this game. Drink every time someone bitches. If you listen to like any other Texans content, drink every time someone bitches about the time. Oh my God, the time. No matter where you're listening, just drink every time you do that. That'll be your drinking game. Don't do it while you're driving, though. Roy Boy 3281 says, I'm pumped for this game. We knocked the rust off. Seattle is good, but they're not too difficult to beat. Got to play good teams to get to the Super Bowl. You got to beat good teams to get to the Super Bowl. There's no doubt. I just think the Texans need to get to the playoffs, and then we'll see. Malik with the 2-piece on Z Soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm
Says JSN is good, but Nico is on a different level. Don't penalize Nico for Stroud and Slowick and Kaylee. It's a crazy take from you. CJ says the same for all wide receivers. I've heard him say Garrett Wilson's the most talented that he's ever played with. But yeah, I mean, he says it, but damn, they're pretty good. Like it's not. He didn't say that about Ibuka when you talk to him, but like, I mean, they're good. They're good receivers. So yeah, he played with some badasses. They're all first round picks. They're all really good. Yeah, I mean, Nico's great. I'm just saying, like, I would probably take JSN at this point. I would. I think Nico's great, but JSN is younger. He's more durable. He can do more. But you can't really go wrong with either one of them. Nico's definitely a dog, for sure. So, and he's on another level. And they honestly need to counter the offensive line, the previously mentioned offensive line issues with perhaps some quick passes with Nico. So yeah, I don't know that there's really a wrong answer to that. Other practice update today. DeMeco Autry and Jalen Reed, full practice participants. No injured players that we didn't already know were inactive for the Texans. So I don't know how Autry fits into this thing, how they use him, what they want to do. It seems like they're fascinated with the idea of Autry. I don't know what that looks like. I really don't know how long it lasts either. And then Jalen Reed, I like Jalen Reed coming out of Penn State. I was the one who talked to him at the combine about the Texans because he brought it up, and then he went in depth. But I thought he would be more of a Petrie style type guy, close to the line of scrimmage, which is what he started out at in rookie minicamp, like he was going through that. And then they put him at traditional safety, and he looked good in training camp. We didn't really see him in game action, so a lot of rookies struggle. Like, what does Jalen Reed do? Like, ideally, he's behind MJ Stewart and he's a backup, and then you don't really need him, and MJ Stewart keeps doing his thing. But I don't know what the Jalen Reed thing looks like for them and how he contributes. Special teams, maybe, and then but like if there's a situation where he has to go out there and play safety, I don't know how capable he is at this point or how effective he can be, I should say. I think that's a little bit up in the air as to what that looks like. They love the idea of DeMeco Autry. We'll see if that shapes up. They're they got I think that's kind of Caserio. Caserio seems to be the one that's obsessed with him. DeMeco is obsessed with Byron Murphy. And I know the Texans traded the first round pick in the first round in which Byron Murphy went. Now, he wouldn't have been there when they selected, but I think if he had been and they hadn't traded that pick, I think it's safe to say DeMeco Ryans loves him some Byron Murphy. And spoiler alert, I think DeMeco Ryans next year is going to get his young defensive tackle. I don't know what round it'll be in, but I think it's time. I think it's probably time, and I think he's probably been foaming at the mouth to do that at some point anyway. So I asked him about Byron Murphy. He gushed about him about as much as he did Jeffrey Simmons. And quite frankly, I think Byron Murphy is one of those guys who I don't think he's getting as much respect around the league as he probably should be. And I think he's one of those guys who's just on the brink of going way up. He's a mofo. If you don't believe me, ask the coach.
Murphy's been one of the more productive guys on the inside getting to the quarterback. What do you see from him?
Byron's a really great player. I really like Byron coming out of Texas. He's a really, stout player, but not just stout, big defensive tackle, right? He plays with explosiveness and quickness. I think that's what makes him a really good player. He runs sideline to sideline, so he's not just a one-trick player. Like, he can stop the run. He can be effective in the passing game as well. He does a good job executing the stunts. Him and Leonard Williams on the inside, they do a really good job playing off of each other. So there's no downs off with either one of those guys. We got to work. We know they're great players, and we got to outwork them.
All right, so there you go. You got to outwork him, all that. He likes Byron Murphy. I don't blame him. He's a really good player. I do wonder what the Juice Scruggs thing is going to be. And this is a Byron Murphy watch game. Like, this is, I'm not saying he's going to sit here and flip this thing upside down and, be the best player on the field, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was. Especially with the offensive line. Like, if Titus Howard thinks that Ingram is really best guard in the league, then that would be great. By the way, they went to the same high school, Byron Murphy and Ingram. Not many people know that or really talk about that. They both went to DeSoto High School out there in the Dallas area. Now, I think Murphy was a freshman, if I'm not mistaken, the year after Ingram graduated. So they missed each other, but they're both from DeSoto. So this is like a DeSoto matchup. I'm sure the people up 45 could perhaps be watching that.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm. Malik says Ryans is giddy because he knows his defense is in good position in this matchup. So I think he's trying to make them look like an elite team so he can get. Yeah, I think he has respect for him. But yeah, they shouldn't be scared on defense. I mean, it's a respectable offense, but I mean, with what the Texans have on defense, they should be able to hold their own. That's for sure. We don't know what Stingley's going to do, though. We don't know if he's going to travel or if they're just going to leave him on one side of the field, whatever. I asked Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley's going to minimize everything. He's a man of few words. But I asked Stingley, I should have asked him, like, if it's cool for a coach to trust you to shut down the other guy's player. I just asked him if it changes anything, and he went more from a fundamental approach.
Like, is it more of a challenge? Is it something you like to do?
I mean, like, if any corner's in that situation, like, it shouldn't change how you play. Like, you should just go out there, like, technique, eyes, feet, like, make sure you take care of yourself first. So.
Like, is it more of a challenge? Is it something?
Think about it. I think he's going to follow JSN. I think that is going to happen. I would assume that he would enjoy doing that, but I think that's what's going to happen. I think he is going to follow JSN for sure. Man, y'all are crazy. Y'all, who is that old white lady? That's Christy Reekin, man. Christy Reekin of the AP. She's cool. But yeah, she's out there. Y'all are some funny people. Stingley doesn't hate the interviews. I know it's he doesn't want to say anything dumb. A lot of times he'll ask you to kind of like repeat the question, which he actually did there. It's not that uncomfortable for him. It's not like Zach Greinke but he's a man of few words. He's not someone who and he's also not like a showboat, So it's kind of his natural personality. Now, I don't think you want to sit him down and talk to him for 20 minutes, but sometimes, especially after a game when you're talking about specific stuff, he'll give you some pretty good answers. But yeah, he's gotten a lot more comfortable at the whole thing. So I think he's gonna I think he's going to follow him. I'll try to read this essay. You said no to his question, not knowing the responses of everyone else. It's kind of like when a teacher says, does anyone have any questions? And you blurt out no, like you're answering for the entire class. Yet there are people that want to ask questions. I don't know what that means, but that seems like a lot. I want to list 5 players. 5 players that I don't think are getting enough attention when it comes to this game. We've talked about the guys that we talk about are very clear. The guys that are going to be like the key to the game and all that. And, you know, it's always funny. Sometimes you listen to guys and they give their keys to the game and it's like, okay, that's the same thing you said last week. Win the turnover battle. Win the turnover battle. Out scheme the opponent. Out scheme. You got to play fundamental football. I always hate that, especially when it's not like specific. I think Seth Payne does a good job of like laying out like the specific examples. There are some guys that just they're just showing up and going and just blabbing with the keys to the game, even on like some pregame shows. But that is not what we're doing here. We're going to list 5 guys that perhaps are not getting enough discussion that could have major impacts on this game. We'll start with the guy who's going to be making his 3rd consecutive start. He's done good so far, but this is going to be a challenge. MJ Stewart. We caught up with MJ Stewart. Here's what MJ Stewart had to say about stepping on the field in Seattle.
How was the bye week? You're coming off the couple starts and everything. How do you feel after the bye?
I feel good. I'm ready to get back into action and play football.
As far as the next game, Seattle runs a lot of play action, best team in the league against play action. How much of a challenge is that for you when you see what they do on tape? And DeMeco talks a lot. He called this an eye game. Mm-hmm. How much of a challenge is that?
They're a very dynamic offense. I think it was one stat where they got the most, I think number 11 got the most explosives in the league as a receiver. So it's definitely a good challenge for us. But, I mean, we're ready. We're going to prepare like we always prepare and do what we got to do.
What about that type of environment, Seattle?
It's a fun place to play. I ain't going to lie. But, like, as a little kid, you dream of playing in places like that. So I'm excited.
When you just brought up number 11, Dax Smith, like what challenges does he present as an explosive receiver who can kind of take a top off of the defense?
Like you said, I mean, he's super explosive. He's a great player, dynamic, so we definitely account for him.
And how important is, the defense all being on the same page when you have a receiver like that can make those explosive plays?
Always got to be on the same page. Whatever game it is, communication is always key.
And how is kind of your position as a safety kind of factor into a receiver? The corner's kind of man on man or the first line of defense with that, but how does your position kind of factor into a receiver that's dynamic like that?
Just kind of trying to limit him as much as we can, and just we got to do our job as safeties. Sure.
All right, there you go, MJ Stewart. He's a man of few words too, kind of stingly, like a little bit upbeat by. But this is going to be a big challenge for him. This is his biggest challenge by far of the season, and we'll see. Like you feel better addition by subtraction with CJ Gardner-Johnson, but if MJ Stewart holds up nicely in this game, then it's an excellent challenge for him, especially heading into the opportunities that they got after that. Next, under the radar guy or guys that could decide or have a big hand in this game, it's the non-Azeez Al-Shire linebackers. We've seen Henry To'oTo'o at times. It's been up and down in coverage. The tackling of Henry To'oTo'o has gotten a lot of attention this year. This is going to be one of those games, and DeMeco Ryans has said, he's publicly said that EJ Speed has earned the right to get more reps. Now, I think there's a combination of things to read between the lines when he says that. Number one, he's right. So I'm not discounting that. But when you earn the right, sometimes it's about more than what you've actually done. I think EJ Speed has done a good job of controlling what he can control. I don't think Christian Harris has. So I think that kind of factors in. Like if this were 2023 Christian Harris, then Christian Harris would be the guy who's earned that right. He hadn't been that guy. So that factors in. We've also seen and witnessed the previously mentioned up and downs of Henry To'oTo'o, So I think that gets brought up. So I do wonder, Aziz is going to be out there. Will Christian Harris be active? Is EJ Speed going to get more reps? Does Henry To'oTo'o look good, or are there the struggles? The non-Aziz Al-Shire linebackers, I think, are going to be something to keep an eye on as well. Number 3, we talk a lot about Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I wonder if Cooper Kupp could be a factor, because yes, Cooper Kupp is not what he once was. Yes, the Texans are in pretty good position to where they can counter what Cooper Kupp is. But I wonder if the fact that there's going to be more attention dedicated to JSN is kind of like an equalizer, and arguably the best slot receiver of the last, I don't know, decade. I mean, he was best receiver in the league for a small stretch. I wonder if that's an equalizer, and all this focus on JSN, all of a sudden Cooper Kupp kind of turns back the clock. He has made some plays for Seattle this year. Next one, my goodness, man. Can a number 2 wide receiver please stand up?
Captain Kirk has arrived. I repeat, Captain Kirk has arrived.
Christian Kirk doesn't really get talked about. Can Christian Kirk step up? We're talking about rookies. We're talking about all this. Like Christian Kirk, they gave you $16 million. They traded a draft pick to keep you off the market. You looked okay with CJ Stroud. You have soft tissue injuries. That's a concern. And then you missed the start of the games. It's time for Christian Kirk to step up. Quite frank, like if Christian Kirk continues to just kind of be meh, then all this attention that gets paid to the CJ Gardner-Johnson decision, the Cam Robinson decision, the Laken Tomlinson decision, you got to focus that attention on Christian Kirk, or whoever the hell, Nick Caserio, DeMeco Ryans, who made the decision. I don't expect Christian Kirk to set the world on fire. I don't think he's going to have a year like he did his first year in Jacksonville. But my God, you got to get something from Christian Kirk, something from him. And then the final one, and I'm actually kind of astonished by how little we've seen this guy involved in the offense. Now, he got involved in the FU game against Baltimore, and that's Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel is a really good receiver out of the slot. Jalen Noel has shown in little stretches that he is capable of making plays. He's capable in the return game. Get him the ball in space. Get it to him quickly. Get him involved. Let him work out the slot. Like you drafted this guy with a luxury pick for a reason. Get Jalen Noel effing involved. One of these guys in the slot, you got to figure something out. That's a quarterback with a bad offensive line's best friend. So between Kirk and Noel and Kupp, and that's three slot guys. I got to think one of these guys could be one of the surprising factors in this ball game. It's going to be a really, really good one. Shout out to Matt K on the soup, a man out there in the West.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm says, I know he played bad defenses, but CJ is Superman when he's killing it, and Clark Kent when he's not. Yes, it is. It doesn't seem to be middle ground. If he could just find that middle ground consistently, I think you're a 10-win team for sure. O's momentum is strong now. Defense has been really good. Still looking for the monster game. Time to see the investment in the edge dominate. No doubt. I agree with everything you said. I also know that you have an advantage on Monday. Is all that time zone that so many are complaining about. I think you're going to be okay with it. I think you're going to be all right with it. Shout out to Matt in the chat. It's going to be a fun time. I agree with you on everything. Got to get the investment. Like you invested in it. It's got to get done. Got to figure it out. They need to get those guys involved. Dalton Schultz. I don't think too many people are pumped about Dalton Schultz. I think Dalton Schultz's season was so bad last year that people are still holding it against him even when he's playing better. That's how bad the season was for Dalton Schultz. It's kind of where he's at. So here's what we'll do. Tomorrow, myself and Cody Stoots, we're going to be at Spanky's. Spanky's Sharpstown. We just got some gift cards to give away. We'll try to round up some other stuff to give away. We'll be live per the usual at 4, right after practice. Nick Cayley's going to speak. So we'll react to what the heck he had to say. We'll also react to what the coordinators had to say. I'm going to call out Frank Ross straight out. Seattle's got a better special teams unit than y'all. Statistically, like how much do you take it upon yourself to kind of equalize that, or at least perform at a higher level? That's another like factor there is Seattle's special teams playing really, really well. And we'll hear what Frank has to say. We're going to hear from Kamari Lassiter. Let's see who hasn't spoken. Nico hasn't spoken yet. He had to do some stuff for ESPN. So we'll hear from Nico. We'll hear from Will. We'll hear from Lassiter. And then we're going to try to put something together for SNL as well. So be sure to be out there at Spanky's and join us out there at the Sharpstown location. Can't wait to try that chicken Alfredo lasagna and then some pizza wings. I don't know. I'm going to pig out because that's just kind of what you do when you go to Spanky's. Subscribe, like, ride along. I'm actually going to do a show on Saturday too. So we'll do one after practice, the final practice. So we'll have a special Saturday stream, probably around noonish, maybe before the second slate of college football games. So we're gonna go live 7 days this week on this channel and post to that on the on SNL. So I'll talk to you tomorrow on SNL. I'll talk to you tomorrow in the locker room. I'll talk to you again locker room on Saturday, and then we get a nice little relaxing Sunday, and then Monday the game will finally be here. 5 sleeps till the game. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize. Every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not 2. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give. We got take